Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam!
Oh my goodness, light the beam. We are back in the room once again here on the Sports Cave with Biggest Puma. I am your host, Sam Freas, broadcasting in the greater northwest side of San Antonio, where we find ourselves 28 days away from the NBA draft. It's going to fall nicely looking at the calendar. It's a Wednesday night show.
A Wednesday night?
Yeah.
But then the second half is going to be Thursday, right?
Yeah, but again, the NBA is so dumb. No one cares. Like, who's, I mean, granted, I'm going to watch that because I am the sicko they're targeting, but...
I actually ran into someone that goes to the NBA draft in Brooklyn every year, and he says the tickets are only $70. And it's like a good time. He's like,
I bet it's a fun time. Yeah.
He's like, dude, I go every year. So he's going to be out there repping the Spurs. And he says everybody loves the Spurs out there.
Well, hopefully he's listening because we're going to talk a little Spurs in the main segment tonight because I feel like we haven't done our due diligence when it comes to what they're going to do with that second first-round pick in 4 weeks, that 14th overall pick. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that and just kind of some general talk about the Spurs' current timeline and some options they could go as we look forward over the next 4 weeks with the NBA winding down and the silly season of trades and off-season starting to pop up. But, as always, we obviously didn't do a show Monday for the holidays, so we've got a lot to catch up on. But before we get going, LG, tell the good people how they can help us out here, how they can subscribe.
Sure. You can subscribe by hitting that button right there on your screen. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, you can hit the follow button. And if you're on Facebook, you can hit the like button, please.
Love it.
Yep.
Hit all three, as she likes to say.
Yeah, speaking of hitting all three, you can also give us the tip at buymeacoffee.com.
Coming in hot.
/SportsCave Live, as you can see on the screen right there. We appreciate all your tips, and they will be used to make our show much better.
Yes, and if you missed any of the shows last week, we actually finally got into a little bit of NFL talk as well. Had some NFL headlines, grab bags. I think that was
OTAs are finally starting.
Yeah, and we had
voluntary OTAs.
Yeah, very, very voluntary. Had some of they had just done the owners meeting last week, so we were talking tush push and all the Hard Knocks teams for this upcoming season. So definitely go back. If you don't need the video versions of this thing, trust me, I understand. But those audio versions are available for you always. So go get caught up on those. Again, we missed Monday, so we've got a lot to catch up on.
Memorial Day. Thank you to all the vets.
Absolutely.
All the people that served.
We'll just start with that. We'll start with we'll call this a little holiday recap because we're going to talk what I watched because it was all sports and it's anticlimactic sports now with every series being a 3-1 series.
You're just sad because you're stars.
Well, of course I am. Of course I am. But before we talk the sports, we'll just do a little bit of holiday. Because talking to you boys, it sounds like y'all actually accomplished way more than I completely forgot it was a holiday. Like Sunday afternoon, Steph is the roommate starting. I'm expecting her to start doing her Sunday late afternoon, evening routine of getting ready for the work week, come Monday and
some laundry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, any kind of the household errands that Sunday night. Usually
dishes because we know Puma doesn't do them.
Hey, you would. That is true, but
I threw a while. I threw a dart.
But we're making progress there.
We're making progress.
One thing I am equally proud of, but also incredibly frustrated by, is we don't have I'm not a big fan of fancy appliances. They just break. We don't have a dishwasher. You can wash dishes. It's not that hard.
It's not a fancy appliance.
Oh, it is how I grew up.
I grew up with a dishwasher that only got used on Thanksgiving, but it's a normal
fancy
household.
No.
item for 1980s and on.
Yeah, well, my house was built in 1912.
So there you go.
So there's some explanation to it. But no, we, I was expecting her to start to get into her Sunday night routine, and all of a sudden she hits me with, "So what are we doing tonight?" And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, there's no Blue Chew involved at this point.
Little pizza?
No Blue Chew
anchovies
yet.
on that pizza?
This was only, the sun hadn't even gone down. And so quickly I kind of do because my thought is like, oh, hell, I've forgotten about something that like she's fishing to try to see if
You're like
I
anniversary,
remember.
birthday.
Right. Anything.
This anniversary, dude. I hope your wife wasn't as bad as mine. Like, we had first date anniversary, half birthdays, engagement anniversaries.
Oh, that's scene control.
Facebook official anniversaries.
That's as much on you as it is the other individual. That's lack of scene control there.
I blame myself on a lot of things.
The one thing, the one battle I have lost with her when it comes to that, it's birthday month. Not day. And that if that's the only thing, I mean, I'm talking, I will trade birthday month if it means I don't have to ever get a Valentine's Day gift. So fair trade-off.
Okay.
There's a lot of BS holidays out there.
Wait a minute. You're going to trade off, like, let's say 29 days, unless it's in February, for one day?
Yeah, because it's the...
That's not a fair
No. It's the accumulation of days like that, like Valentine's Day, or then, like you said,
what's
like
another one? You don't have a
like
child.
the Facebook anniversary, or any of those fake anniversaries or fake holidays.
Mine was special. That's not really a thing. That was just a thing for her.
I'm still on the fence. You still haven't convinced me. No, I completely forgot it was a holiday. And then when we were talking about, when the three of us were talking about whether to do the show Monday, at that point, I'm on holiday. As soon as I realized it was a holiday, I made plans. Like, we're on holiday mode now.
I saw your head. I saw the gears working in your head. You're like, well, we can do it, but then I was like, we can do a Tuesday, Thursday show.
I said to you, I was like, are we taking the day off? You're like, no, we're working. I was like, I don't think so. I think it's a holiday, bro. And you're like, no, we're working.
Yeah.
And then Puma texts like an hour later. Okay, we're taking the day off.
Exactly.
No, literally, that hour I texted y'all,
It just talked himself into it.
that was the hour I realized it was a holiday again.
Yeah.
Like, I know we had talked about it, but then
when
Steph
I talked
said,
to you, you didn't know it.
No, I had no clue, man. Again, though, thank you.
We take federal holidays off.
Yeah,
this is
no shame in that.
If the feds don't get paid, you don't get paid.
If iHeart is paying me to take the day off and call it a holiday, I'm taking the day off and calling it. Yeah. So, granted, all that being said, the most exciting thing that happened over the holiday weekend, first time maybe ever, actually saw someone get stretchered out of a bar restaurant situation.
Now, is this out of a bar or just on a stretcher, period?
So out of a
Establishment.
Out of an establishment. Yeah. Not period. I've seen like car wrecks or stuff like that, but like I had never been sitting somewhere.
I feel like you've lived a sheltered life, sir.
Well, or
maybe I've just been in the bar way too many.
or I've lived a life where you don't call those services.
Oh yeah, that's $600.
That's exactly right. That's like one time I passed out at Texas State, smashed my head on the column, the pillar that was right out in front of our apartment townhome over there on Craddock Street. And I remember it was me and two buddies, my roommate and a friend. And I pass out, smash my head. I wake up, my buddy's on the phone with the ambulance, giving them the direction, and I just start screaming, hang up, I'm fine. Like, it's going to be fine. I'm just dehydrated.
You're like crawling over them, half dead, like... Let the phone go.
The buddy is like telling me, like, no, calm down. You hit your head. Where it's like, no, he's got to hang up now. Like, we can't do this. But no, it was Sunday night when Steph asked, the roommate asked what we were going to do. And so I scrambled to come up with, well, I mean, there's sports on TV. Let's go to a establishment that serves alcohol and shows sports. So ended up
that's always a good plan right there.
Ended up at the neighborhood bar. And again, Forgot it was a holiday. I wasn't thinking holiday mode. So the bar's packed. I mean, it's smashed, nut to butt everywhere inside because everyone wants the AC.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was on Monday or Sunday? On Sunday.
Sunday night, yeah. Because no one had to work Monday.
North side, completely dead.
Really?
Completely dead. Like, we had the opposite effect. So either everybody went downtown, but most of our people, I guess most of my friends have families and kids. They were down at the beach or doing something like that. But yeah, man, it was dead everywhere. You had the same old like barflies being all mad, like, man, there's dirt everywhere. And I'm like,
no, in my neighborhood, it was
do DoorDash.
It was the barfly, yeah. It was the barflies being mad because it was so packed. It was the opposite.
Yeah,
it's still mad, but just for opposite reasons.
Yeah.
So we're sitting, I didn't want to be inside. Like, I'm a smoker, so I'm chain smoking while watching sports. Sitting outside,
Nasty.
And all of a sudden, flashing lights are behind us, and it's like an indoor-outdoor bar, a whole outdoor patio,
like a garage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, me and the roommate are sitting out back, and jokingly, the lights are going, and Steph says there's a bunch of firemen that are parked right outside the gate to get into the bar. And I'm like looking around, like trying to figure out, like, is this somebody's like 40th birthday party and they got like stripper firemen to show up at the bar? So, I'm trying, because there's no commotion. There's no one like
there's
yelling.
code compliances for that.
Get help or anything. And so then after the fire truck stops, then a meat wagon pulls up, an ambulance pulls up. And so now I'm looking around.
Meat wagons are different than an ambulance. A meat wagon's the coroner, dude.
They're all the same. Interchangeable. This lady. Well,
I was like, man, someone died?
Let me say, no, this lady needed neither ambulance or hearse.
Dehydration.
So, again, at this point, the firemen are like running through the backyard to try to figure out where they, who called them. The ambulance they've got the paramedics have their whole little, backpack of goodies. Yeah. They're running around following the firemen. Eventually, they walk up to just this random woman who's sitting just on her chair, just normal. She's sitting there. And finally, after walking around, and so like now they're inside and I'm looking through to see like what is going on in there. They walk up to just a random woman who is sitting there, and as they walk past, she like taps one on the shoulder and is like, "I called y'all."
What? She having a mild heart attack?
Again, I hesitate to, because we could have some underlying health issues that aren't noticeable, that aren't immediately identifiable. But it really looked like a woman who just maybe was tired of being there and was ready to go home, but like
she took the
didn't want to walk through the crowd. Like, it was the weirdest thing, right?
So local screwball.
She starts to try to walk out with them, and they're like, no, man, like, we're here. Let's put you on a stretcher. So at this point, she's laughing at the fact that she's being put on a stretcher. The whole thing was just...
Is this one of those, it's like one of those, I ate a bunch of pot brownies and time is going by really,
now
really,
you're getting closer.
Really slow.
Now you're getting closer to what I think was really happening there.
She took too much.
I think she took too
much, man.
I think the as Dan Patrick is trying to save all of our lives by banning THC. I think she had made one last big order and was had maybe loaded up a little too much. Because again, appearances wise, there was nothing wrong with her, and she wasn't like panic, frantic, anything.
She was super calm.
She was a little too calm, even. Again, like we ended up asking the bartender.
That sounds about right.
And they said she had called because heat exhaustion. But she's sitting indoors in the AC. Like it was 20 degrees cooler inside than it was outside, and it wasn't like it was 100 outside.
Well, I mean, your hot's different from somebody else's hot. Like LG likes to keep it 78 in here, which is inhuman.
Yeah, because I know I'm freezing. I'm going to start bringing a jacket. This is my house. My old drafty house can't stay this cold. It's a battle nonstop in the summer. But I hadn't seen anyone, especially again, someone who didn't necessarily look like they needed it. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with edibles.
That was what the roommate and I finally landed on, was that she probably is someone, like it's a holiday weekend, probably someone that doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, it's only 10 milligrams.
Right,
and it's like, nah, it's 100 milligrams.
Yeah. Or they told her it was like, it's only 5 milligrams, but then she ate
6 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now you're up to
it was like
30.
that show Studio that was on. Spoiler there. We have a Hollywood buffet, and like he was really geeked on like saying, "Oh, it's a Hollywood buffet," which means all the drugs. You know?
That's like old like
and
80s
Zoe
reference.
Kravitz just munching down these chocolates, and he's all like, "How many of you had of those?" And she's like, "Don't be shaming me," which comes to my story later. And she eats like probably an ounce of mushrooms and goes on her journey.
Yeah, I was about to say
the
that's
show, which was pretty hilarious.
That judging by the lady's demeanor.
Yeah. Is she a great big fat person?
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, again, I think
it gets hot out there for us, man.
Yeah,
you need to calm down with that.
Yeah, I think there were a multitude of potential contributors to the position she found herself in.
What do they call it during COVID? Like you have different alerts, or like if you have this, you are
the different like symptoms.
Yeah, if you have pre-diagnosed symptoms or something like that.
Wow, it's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, hell.
Speaking of big old fats, like I'm out this weekend, just watching sports, doing what we do. And I go to grab some of this orange chicken from my friend's poker place, man. Great food. Would not believe it, but like it's like a Bennigan's. So they have
I miss Bennigan's.
So they have a bunch of different themes. They have Italian, Mexican, you can get breakfast, they got Asian and all this stuff. I ordered the orange chicken.
Yeah.
All right. And it's loud. I can't hear anything. And I thought I heard egg roll. And I was like, yeah, I'll take 6 of them because I'm coming back to the bar and I'm going to hand them out to some people. Well, I'm probably going to eat about 2 or 3 of them. But
just being honest.
But here's the question. If someone's serving at least 6 dishes of Asian food, Chinese food mainly, do you expect them to have egg rolls?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's clear.
Absolutely. Like that's like
a part of the special.
It's a no-brainer. Like you're serving Chinese food, you have egg rolls. Well, me and her get back and forth, and like I know which bartender it is, and she's all sitting there like, "You really want 6?" And I'm like, "Don't fat shame me, man." I was like, "Yeah, I want 6."
You never want to be asked that question twice.
She's like, "Are you serious?" And she asked it like 7 times, and I was like, "Did I stutter, man? Like, come on, man. Let's just put it in. You guys close at 1. It's 12:45. You know the ordeal I do here."
Wait, you were ordering 15 minutes before they closed?
They know me. I tip them.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair.
And I get there, and she comes over. I'm going over to get the food. And there's 3 big old bags. And I'm like, who's that for? She's like, that's yours.
Someone put in a big order.
She's like, you ordered 6 orange chickens. I was like, who on earth ordered 6 servings of orange chickens? She's like, you. And I'm like, no. I was like, I ordered 6 egg rolls. You know we don't serve egg rolls. And I'm like, well, how the hell would I know that? Like, you serve orange chicken. I thought you served egg rolls.
That's like going to a McDonald's that doesn't serve chicken nuggets or something.
Yeah.
Like they
were gaslighting me, making me think I was the crazy one.
Of course.
And so I sat there and I was like, I'm not, man, do I need to call my boy Hetty on this one, man? Because like you should have never taken that order. You should have waited for me to come here and be like, we'll cook them now. But no one in the world's gonna order 6 orange chickens. And like I sat there and played some poker. While the rest they literally sold the orange chickens to like the people there.
Yeah, it's like half price orange chicken,
Exactly.
and it's ready right now for you to grab and go.
So that's where I was like, man, I felt really fat shamed by you. But yeah, that is pretty awkward with the 6 orange chickens.
The only time something similar to that's happened when my cousin. Here's a family humble brag. When my cousin was studying nuclear thermal engineering at MIT.
Nerd.
Exactly. Oh, big time. Big time. She's a badass. She
science.
Naval nuclear.
Get out of here, nerd.
Yeah, exactly. She's doing her doctorate now
Good for her.
through the Navy. But when she was living in Boston, we went up there to visit one time, and went into a pizzeria.
Yeah.
Pretty basic, pretty simple, little neighborhood spot. We walk in. As soon as I go to order, I'm like, yeah, we want a large pepperoni, an order of garlic knots, and then a medium, whatever my mom. It was like a Canadian, but yeah, right. But the key is the order itself. Because he starts to repeat stuff, and he's like, "Got a large pep, garlic knots, blah, 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 blah," and it's all, and I'm just standing there. It's like I'm in Istanbul, hearing a man repeat my order in Turkish.
Oh, it's straight,
and I'm just like,
yeah, it's straight
the
New York,
hell? Right? But it's that Boston, very specific.
Oh,
but I
man.
kept getting hung up on the fact he was saying garlic knots. But it was like, God, not, and I'm just like, no, garlic knot.
Yeah, they don't say T's.
Right, exactly. And so finally, he just holds the ticket up to me and shows me, and he's like mocking me, like, yes, is this right?
Oh,
and
man.
at that point, I just kind of had to tuck my tail and be like,
This is when you want to just punch a boss.
yeah, because I'm arguing with him that he's got my order wrong, and he finally just showed me, like,
It's like dogs. Oh yes, I like dags.
exactly. It's like straight out of Snatch. LG, how about you? How was your holiday weekend?
It was all right. I didn't do too much. I worked, went up to Austin and flew some drone and went and test drove a vehicle.
Oh, you just bought a vehicle. What's
I know I did. Yeah.
It's a Ford. That's why he wants to get rid of it.
Oh, so we're
not necessarily, but it's just looking out there. I always keep my eyes open.
If we're bagging on his Ford, what I'm assuming it wasn't a Ford you test drove.
No, it was not. It was a Tesla Model 3.
Okay.
Oh, you traitor! You're such a. I'm playing.
Hey,
What do you mean?
I'm not gonna lie. The roommate and I have been looking at them too, because now
They're
is the
cheap,
time.
dude. Yeah, now is the time.
It's the time.
Strike
and
when it's hot.
and I'm going to test drive a Model Y tomorrow.
Very nice.
I drove a Model Y to Houston. That was one of the funnest drives because
Educate me. Which is the Y, the SUV?
it's kind of
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a little bigger one.
the one that had the Gulf wing door.
That's
Yeah.
not the Y. That's the X.
That's the X.
That's
okay.
that's the luxurious SUV. So
yeah,
the
okay.
3 and the Y are like the
But this was like six
peasant
years ago.
the peasant models.
The peasants.
The S and the X are the top models. And did you know it's like the S, 3, X, and Y sexy?
Oh my God, Elon's a dumbass.
That doesn't. That
And he couldn't do the. He
Doesn't
couldn't do.
surprise
Smartest man in the world.
He
is
couldn't
the
do a
biggest
model. He
dumbass
couldn't do
I've
a
ever
Model
known.
E because of Ford Mach E.
Oh.
So he had to do a Model 3.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Look, there is a really big part of me.
It's like I love it, but I don't.
1,000% of like if I was that powerful and had that much money, everything I do,
sexy.
everything I did would just be a giant bit like that.
might as well.
You might as well. You've got. What do you have to lose?
Sexy. It's like Corvette guy with Vandy plates and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, 1,000%. But it's even worse because it's like 14-year-old 4chan poster.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not even
It's
middle-aged
very
man.
immature humor, and he loves it. But yeah, I test drove a Model 3, or I should say, it took me for a ride because I used the full self-driving for most of the test drive.
Oh,
you daredevil, you.
And-
Oh, well,
Yeah,
okay. So, granted,
Oh, I would.
that's certainly not. This
I'd be
San
white
Antonio might
knuckling
be it might be the city in Texas I would least like the
Well,
amount of San
you
Antonio
joking?
If
shuffles.
it can drive here, it can drive anywhere.
This is
So-
yeah, I agree.
It's a
I
good
do
testing
agree with
ground.
that.
Well, I
It's a
guess
good testing ground.
maybe the construction, but like traffic wise,
Oh no, not I'm talking not
construction.
traffic or construction, just the erratic nature of how people drive here versus
Memphis is worse.
Oh, I'm
Houston's
saying
worse.
no,
Dallas is
Houston's-
worse.
no,
Austin's worse.
no.
LA's worse.
You know why? You know why Dallas and Houston aren't worse? Because everyone there is going at least 85.
Well, that's a positive, but they don't use blinkers, which I'm not a very proponent on. I think yield signs should be
that's
optional.
the other thing. The Model 3, they removed the turn signal stock. It's buttons now on the steering wheel. It's
that's
so
weird.
awful. It's that's awful.
I think I might turn the volume up.
Yeah, that's exactly what
just
it feels.
imagine if your steering wheel's turned just a little bit, you're trying to find the signal. If it's not like,
signal for me with all
straight
that.
up, it'll be up or down. It's like it was weird, man.
So you
Super weird.
did the it drove you. I guess you were at the dealership.
It drove me from the Tesla dealership at the airport all the way to the Whitty Museum and then to the quarry from there. And then I drove it the rest of the way.
Were there any moments where you felt like you had to take over?
It tried to go straight in a left only, and so I took over because there was nowhere straight to go.
Okay.
Like there was 2 lanes, and the left lane turned into a left only, and it just thought it could go straight.
Well, it thought it was just driving in San Antonio.
You can just take over immediately, though. So they call it full self-driving supervised. So you have to take over every now and then. But that was the only
It feels
thing,
like they
really.
do that for legal purposes.
You
Like,
know,
we told you have to supervise.
Supervise, like I by like ripping out the guts of that brain.
I'd say it's definitely the best. It's the best system out there right now today that of any manufacturer for,
Yeah, it
for
feels-
self-driving features or
Well,
driving
isn't China,
assist.
Isn't China
features.
doing one?
Well, we
They're
don't
like-
have that here. We we
like-
have
like
stupid
Wego
laws
or
that
Wago or-
that make it we can't have it here.
Yeah, Weibo.
BYD.
Yeah.
BYD is like blowing up in Europe, not here.
I just learned how Apple created basically the whole tech boom in China by investing $50 billion a year for 25 years.
Well, it's cheap labor.
I was about to
but
say,
but
it feels like
they invested in infrastructure. They invested in training them. They
Well,
invested in
yeah,
how to
yeah,
do everything.
exactly.
And then when they were so self-reliant on Apple, like none of the competitors, like they basically Apple said you have to make a competitor because we can't keep all these people on because now we have robots to do all this stuff. And China was about to go into depression, so therefore Wego or whatever, all those different ones started coming out. There's a book on it, man. I saw it on the Daily Show. It was pretty.
Oh, actually, I know exactly who you're talking about. I saw that
Yeah.
interview too. Now that you say that, yeah. I do know.
I'm gonna nerd out there, buddy.
Love a good nerd out. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Like, I have no problem. I eat Chick-fil-A because the chicken tastes good. I don't care about the
Damn good
politics.
chicken.
Like,
Damn good chicken.
we're very seriously looking at striking while the market is
The only thing with the
adjusted
Tesla,
low for
the
Tesla.
only thing with Tesla, man, is with the energy cars is I got a heavy foot, and
Yeah, that's worrisome.
My guy who owned the Model X drove all the way to Houston. We almost made it all the way there on like one full charge. So that's almost like 3 hours during like a little rush hour traffic. Well, they were all hungover, and I got some sleep because they went out at night, and I was like, nah, man. It was the Yankees in Houston, and we lost, and I was pouting, so I went to the hotel room. So I got to drive back. I killed that full battery in about an hour.
Just from your style of driving.
Just and like literally I like woke him up and I was like, yeah, we have to recharge. He's like, how the hell did you? He's like, how fast are you driving? I was like, 60 to 90 in half a second,
Yeah,
bro.
it's not how fast I was driving; it's how fast I got there.
Yeah, I was accelerating.
Yeah.
That's the only one that kills me because I accelerate pretty fast.
Hey, you probably shouldn't be behind any EV then.
Yeah.
I feel like the
I'm gonna borrow your
infrastructure
car.
is still like that's my biggest holdup as we look. I mean, we have a Tesla charging station right in our neighborhood.
Oh, that's
I feel like we're set up pretty well now. Texas is,
Are
at
we?
least along the main corridors. I'd
yeah,
say,
if you
I'd
say
say
around
there's
like
chargers
604
everywhere.
and
Actually,
410s, like
Yeah.
604 and 410s
Dude,
downtown.
there's chargers hidden places you wouldn't even expect.
Yeah, I
like
think-
there's a bunch of chargers in the quarry, like just randomly in the parking lot.
yeah.
Every time I see one, it shoots my wheels off because at first I kind of forget what it actually is. Like even the one in our neighborhood, when I drive by it, because it looks like it's like remnants of a shutdown car wash. You know,
Oh yeah, it looks like a bunch of vacuums.
It looks like a bunch of vacuums.
Like a bunch of vacuums.
Exactly.
You know where Mellow Mushroom is? Right before you go to
Oh yeah, Stone Oak.
There's a charging station right behind there.
Toro.
Oh yeah, it's good place.
Yeah, we need to do the greatness. I love how a restaurant's good when all of us just hear the name and are like, oh yes, need some paella. Well,
let's get to some sports.
Yeah, it was again. I said we're kind of now in wait for the finals in both NHL and NBA. But we'll start with the Stars. The highlight of the Stars from this weekend,
old-time hockey,
unfortunately,
was Game 1.
Well, and you remember that was
scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that was Wednesday. That was last Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
When we were so distracted. Yeah, if you want to hear the most distracted episode we've done yet, last Wednesday when the Stars opened the series against the Oilers and had the massive third period comeback. That's been, if you're a Stars fan, that's the only moment of joy so far.
I think
outside of the fact that my buddy Truman stopped by, he was driving because of the holiday. He was driving down to the beach from Dallas, and he stopped Friday night and watched the game. And I think he's the kind of sports fan. I think you're the same way in a lot of ways. It drives me crazy because he's we didn't score a goal that period. I'm sitting somewhere else in the room for the second period. It's like I've got 2 jerseys. I need one of y'all to throw a jersey on. It's like, dude, this is your girlfriend's jersey. Like it won't fit over. Like he's got it
on one.
It's like no. It's superstition. You just throw it somewhere on your body. So I'm like wearing it around my neck.
He's all rub the amulet.
It's exactly what.
I'm not that big. I just got hats. I throw on a different hat. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
it's only my 3 teams.
That doesn't affect
Spurs,
me nearly as much
Niners,
as
and the Yankees.
A guy bouncing around like he's an epileptic in my living room.
I'm not that bad.
No, so got to see Truman. I guess that's the only other highlight of this series so far.
I think Edmonton kind of like after that comeback, and then they sat there and tried to fight all the team right after at the end of the buzzer. They kind of let them know, hey. That's the only win you're gonna get.
It feels like you are absolutely right. I mean, the demoralizing thing about it, you mentioned, last Wednesday, the crazy third period comeback. Mm-hmm. Since then, the Stars have scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
Their expected goals over that period of time is 12. So they're out. Like, if you look at a lot of the metrics, even the game the other night that finished, 6-1 or something, when they just got the doors blown off of them.
Yeah.
The expected goals favored the Stars. They got beat 6-1. Now, granted, you give up 2 of those empty nets. I mean, really 4-1. But the expected goals were in favor of the Stars, and you're sitting there feeling like you just have no chance in this series. I mentioned the 3 goals they've scored. The difference, Skinner basically making up for 9 goals, where the expected goal analytics would say they should have 12.
Yeah.
That's the series right there. I mean, and it's not just Skinner. I mean, Skinner's been great for them.
Seems like y'all don't have a lot of shots on goal during the third.
And most recently, last night, I think they only ended up with 3-4 shots on goal in the third.
Yeah,
when
you're
you
getting
need
bullied and just time of possession is just all Edmonton. And
it's a couple things.
Give me some stats.
Well, from a Stars perspective, and I think this is where, we've had some of these conversations before. These 2 teams played each other at this point in the playoffs last year in the conference finals. Edmonton went on to lose the Stanley Cup final. So Edmonton is not really, they want to get past Dallas to get to Florida, to get back to the Stanley Cup, because their unfinished business isn't with Dallas, it's with Florida.
So is that a rematch?
It potentially will be. It would be the first. It would be the first Stanley Cup Finals rematch since.
Did Florida sweep, or did they gonna gentleman sweep them?
Well, last year
no, I mean like
it's 3-1 right now.
I didn't think Carolina.
I don't know what the game
Carolina was going to.
I don't think Carolina thought they were going to get one either, the way that started. No, it would be the first rematch since like 08, 09 when it was like Penguins Red Wings, I think. It would be the first Stanley Cup final rematch. It's been a while. Yeah, hockey's wild ass when it comes to
That's amazing.
what two teams are actually left standing. But from Edmonton's perspective, they're trying to get their unfinished business in the Stanley Cup Finals. The Stars are trying to get their unfinished business this round. So the expectations are already, obviously Stars' expectation is to win a cup, but they have got to get over the boogeyman that is the best player in the world.
Connor McJesus.
My
favorite nickname, Connor McJesus.
Look, very rarely does someone get a nickname involving our Lord and Savior and actually deserve it.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid is probably going to go down as the second best hockey player ever.
Really? So
it's not
you think
an
he's going to
exaggeration.
overtake?
I think that if you were doing any kind, I mean, like Bobby Orr was a defenseman, so it's really hard to compare.
Yeah.
But if you're just talking forwards, I think the list is Gretzky, obviously number one. Mario Lemieux is probably everyone's go-to number two.
So Ovechkin's not even over Lemieux.
Well, Ovechkin's just
He's just a slap
it's just such a sniper. Yeah. He's way more of a one-dimensional player than Gretzky or Lemieux. And Lemieux and Gretzky were setting everybody else up while they still score the most amount of goals in the league. But I don't think he's ever going to catch Gretzky. Just Gretzky is Gretzky. We talked about the insanity of his stats when we were talking about Ovechkin's run.
21 years.
Right. But I think there is a general consensus among hockey fans that if he just keeps up, he's 28 now. McDavid is. He's at his athletic prime. I think he's going to split that Lemieux, Gretzky, probably slot in as the second best player. One of the stats I saw in the games earlier. So in the NHL playoffs this year, there have been 31 instances where a guy went from skating to a burst of speed up to over 22 miles per hour. It's happened 13 times in the playoffs where they go from standstill
like a sprint
to like a sprint, right? Yeah. 31 times of any team in the league. McDavid has 18 of those. The other 13 are a combination of players that have done it.
Oh, buddy.
McDavid has 18. Like he's the fastest skater. Yeah. He's the best passer. He's the best stick handler. He's just it's one of those. It's a video game created avatar, and it doesn't look like
he's the one sitting there bouncing the puck, like doing all the tricks and just mighty ducking it.
1,000%. He's the kid. He's the team captain.
Puck.
He's the captain for Team Finland. Mighty Ducks too.
Those fighting Finns.
Yeah. Well, our fighting Finns. And that's the other thing. Rope, the slash on his foot that probably broke something that he's playing through now. The Stars lose their best two-way player for a game, and now he played last night, but he's clearly still banged up. The Stars all season long, their depth has been the reason they were so good. Well, now all of a sudden, no one can score outside of the first line or the fourth line.
Oh, wow.
So none of that depth is showing up. And quite frankly, Otter, it's not that Otter's been bad. It's just that Skinner's been better in goal between the pipes.
Neutralizing them.
Yeah.
Like that,
yeah. I mean, again, we've talked about it before, in the NBA, when a team is down 3-1, they have a 4% chance of winning.
Yeah.
In hockey,
I thought you said it was like a 10%.
In NBA, it's 4. It's like,
crazy.
4.5%. Or actually, I think it's 3.5%.
We've seen 2 of them.
Right. And
very low percentage.
Hockey, it's a 10, 11% chance. So basically, I heard this explained earlier.
I thought you said it was like a 40. Wait a minute. Is it down like 0-2? Am I thinking 0-2 or like?
I think you were thinking of when we were talking about.
Yeah, if you go down
in the
3-1.
early series. Yeah, that was 3-1. It's the same stat. It's just.
I thought hockey had a lot of higher percentage of it because like a lot.
Maybe it's just in the when it was first round versus conference finals. Maybe. But the way I heard it explained,
not championship.
The Stars have to win 3 games in a row.
Yeah,
they're down 3-1. The odds of winning that are basically the same as if we had a coin right now and we flipped a coin 3 times and you accurately called it 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Because it would be you got a 50% chance, then you got a 25% chance, then you got a 12.5% chance. So that's where the Stars find themselves. At least there's more
math.
I love this is a really nerdy episode so far tonight. No, they have a better chance of coming back than either the Knicks or T-Wolves.
I'm gonna have to say your Stars are out.
It feels like it.
Florida's looking ridiculously good. Edmonton looking good.
Yeah.
And they're both looking good coming in. And you're telling me it's a rematch? It seems like this would be the best product for NHL right now.
Yeah, I think that's, it's,
even though you're a Stars fan.
No, I mean, we're going to talk about it here when we turn to the NBA. The NHL is such a different beast when it comes to marketing because, like, the equivalent of Edmonton being in the Stanley Cup Finals is the equivalent of Oklahoma City being in the finals. But because Edmonton has the best hockey player on earth, and because it's Canada where the game was invented, and it's,
I love that Canada-American rivalry right now. They played, my pink pony dance?
It makes it even better if it's potentially home of Mar-a-Lago, Florida Ice Cats.
Oh my God! I didn't even think about that.
It wouldn't surprise me if 47 himself went to one of the games.
They're eating the cats.
That would be hilarious. Yes, the great Ice Cats.
That's definitely news fodder.
Okay,
there.
Before we jump into a more specific NBA recap, you mentioned it. The Stars look dead. They look done. Carolina looks done. With Florida moving on. Out of the 4, the 2 in hockey and then Knicks Pacers, and I think we can already scratch off Thunder T-Wolves because as we sit here,
what's the score?
59-27.
Hold up.
They're already fishing.
It's over.
They're already fishing.
So that series is over. You're not going to see. I don't think we're going to see a 30-point comeback.
They're out there with Stephon Diggs, and I'll let y'all know a little bit.
Yeah,
more
we got
about
some
that
Stephon Diggs. So really, this one's over. I think the Knicks. If you pushed me to say what team still has the best chance to come back and win the series.
And you know why? This is what happened after we left. We were so geeked on the Stars and
that's right. That was the same night.
I'm sitting there catching the scores, and I see the greatest game. Obviously, one of the greatest games ever in playoff history against 2 rival teams. That I look at it, and it's 2 minutes, and they're up by 14, and I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. And then I look at it again, and it's 25 seconds, and they're up by 8. I called it. I was like, we were sitting on the couch, and I said, this game's over, blah, blah, blah. And we end up talking, post-podcast interview, podcast talk and everything. And I sit there and start to listen to AM radio, and they're talking about, I can't believe that I gave up, and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I can't understand them. I'm like, are they talking about another game? And I finally look at my phone, and the most unbelievable shot that I missed live happened with Halliburton banking, not even banking, but back ironing. It should have been a 3, should have been a game winner, up 9 feet, past the shot clock, into it to tie the game. Does the old Reggie Miller choke.
God, it was so great. It was so great.
I mean, I rewatched that game I'll rewatch that game 1,000 times, but I rewatched it 5 times. And I have a picture. I should have gave it to LG, but Jalen Brunson just defeated on the sideline. So if they actually won that game, they'd be 2-2 right now.
Yeah, I think the one trade-off I would say, though, is the one win they do have was also miraculous by them. I mean, it was a, 24-point comeback.
Oh yeah.
To get the one win that, like, the Pacers should have won that game. The Pacers should have probably lost game one.
They should have lost like 3 games when they won this year.
And that's where it doesn't really feel like this is one of those years where I'm not necessarily. It doesn't feel controversial to say that the best team in the East is not going to be the representative in the final.
I mean, it depends. The Pacers are all clicking. So here's the stat for you. Before then, teams that trailed by 9+ points in the final minute of the fourth quarter out of a playoff game were 0 in 1,414.
That's insane.
So, and that's since 1998.
Very low percentage.
Because we know Michael Jordan probably had something to say about that one. Or was that probably the Reggie Miller one where he stole the ball? I don't know.
I wonder why they stopped in 98.
Because it must have happened.
Yeah.
But I would like to know that stat. But like that's when I looked at it with 25 seconds left and they're up by 8. I was like, game over. Game over. And like the only thing I've seen close to it was old Tracy McGrady and the Spurs where Devin Brown should
fell over.
Hold the ball, Devin. Hold the ball. But of course, epic comeback.
Yeah, I mean I'm in a tough position because I am absolutely the guy that says you play the games to determine who the better team is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when Nesmith is making 8 straight threes like he's never done in his career, like it also can be a combination of guys absolutely having career runs at the same time that another team, like the Knicks are underperforming. Nesmith is all of a sudden the best sharpshooter in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Halliburton is doing Reggie Miller stuff.
He's taking your overrated and shoving it right up your culo.
I'm telling you, man, that survey only gets, those results only get worse and worse as he continues to do it.
Speaking of things that happened, we just had Oklahoma State win the men's national NCAA golf championship.
Is that what you were watching?
I am watching Oklahoma State match play golf. I watched it last night. Oh, they had it was one of the most epic, like it was just it was like me and my buddies playing golf, but they were going hit for hit, and we just beat Virginia 4-1 on match play, and we have now I believe we are the second most in titles. Like, did you know Oklahoma State is one of the premier golfing?
The only reason I knew that is because Ricky Fowler,
Hovland,
right?
Like they put out quality stuff, man.
The Big 12 has great. I mean, Tech has even had a good run lately in golf. They've produced a couple PGA Tour.
Texas always has.
Yeah, Texas is always Texas. Yeah,
but and then another quick golf thing since we're on it. We had Charles Schwab, this thing. Ben Griffin.
It's the Colonial.
Whatever. Charles Schwab.
We don't honor sponsors unless they honor us.
Ben Griffin quit golf. He decided to come back and play the Korn Ferry Tour, which is like the minors. Came back up in 2021. Finally got his card again. Got on and had his first win ever. That's pretty amazing.
He had won.
He was going to be a mortgage broker.
He had won the pairing New Orleans when they play the pairings, the groupings, the match play. Yeah. Him and what was it? Norland, I think, was his partner on that. But yeah, his first solo win on the tour. Yeah. Always love it. Golf is one of those. Like, as much as we focus on...
Go Cowboys! The only time you're going to hear me say that.
There you go. As much as we focus on, the top 10 golfers in the world, there's a great account out there called Monday Morning Qualifiers. And some of the stories of these guys that grind on the Korn Ferry Tour.
Oh, yeah.
And then, just getting your PGA Tour card.
You got to pay. You got to pay to play.
Right.
So you got to pay for your...
And then perform to get promoted.
And then it's like you got to pay for your own meals. And this is why people went to Live. And this is what Live was doing. There was going to be a PGA strike because they're like, hey, if we don't make the cut, we don't make any money, and we got to go to these nice hotels. Like, look, down here we got TPC Valero, over there at TPC. And that's no cheap hotel.
Oh, God, no. It's a resort.
It's a very beautiful course, man. And imagine having to shell out a couple thousand and you miss the cut, and then you're just like, whoop, on to the next one. That's,
much less the travel on to the next one and all of it that comes along. Yeah, I mean, I love it when the upper crust of the talent pool blows everybody else away. Yeah. But once or twice a year, when you see a random guy like this,
you need to see the underdog.
You need to see the underdog. There's, and I mentioned, that was Colonial up in Fort Worth this past weekend. I have fond memories of going to that tournament with my pops growing up there in South Fort Worth. God, you're watching college golf. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true sicko stuff right there.
And you watch hockey.
I don't watch college hockey. Well, actually, I take that back. I did. I watched the Frozen Four. At least I watched it with someone who went to Western Michigan.
Me and my dad have been talking for the past 2 days about this.
Is that why you're wearing orange too? Am I just piecing all of this together now?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe.
See, it worked. It worked.
Oh, back on the basketball real quick before we talk Spurs in the main segment. Last night that Pacers performance, absolutely gaining back control of the series after blowing that game in Game 3. You mentioned Halliburton putting to bed the overrated 32 points, 15 assists, 12 boards, and most importantly,
triple-double,
0 turnovers.
0.
While his dad was allowed back in the building too.
They did allow him back. I've been wondering.
He was up in a suite after him and Giannis had the altercation in the first round.
I was seeing like
this was his first game back.
Of like let him back in, give him a second chance, and keep his ass up in the suite, man.
Yeah, I think you're probably if Halliburton does that every game, he could. I think the Pacers will probably pay for the suite in the Garden too.
By
that. Before we get to a little Spurs talk in the main segment, I did still want to hit on some baseball because I know you'll have a Yankees minute for us. But before that, LG, you got that Rangers audio. This is the further I get away from that Rangers World Series win 2 years ago, I'm starting to realize more and more how much of an anomaly that World Series probably was.
That was.
It really was. The amount of guys that had career, all had like Jonah Heim, Adolis, the heart of that lineup having career years versus where they're at now.
Was Pudge still with them?
No, long gone. The big money signings of Simeon, Seager hitting the walk-off home run. Yeah. Simeon hitting the series clinching home run in the final game.
The fact that they did back-to-back years too.
Now we're at the point where World Series heroes have been dropped so far in the lineup that they don't even remember where they're at in the lineup. You have this, LG?
Oh.
Marcus's Iron Man ability on the diamond, and when you look at the fact that he's played the second most games of anyone over the last 2 seasons for... He forgot he was on deck.
That was amazing right there. What a timely report. I mean, that is stunning.
My goodness.
You can take him to lunch.
That's where we're at.
Okay, we forgot where we were in the lineup.
As a Ranger fan.
Oh, man. That can happen to you when you get swept
over the last
by
2
the
seasons.
Yankees.
And Tony Beasley was asking,
it's
did
going
you have
back
that
to
conversation with
the
Marcus
Yankee
about playing
sweep
today?
is what started it. So
Going back to the Yeats. So give me my minutes.
Hold on. Hold on.
You really want to delay this?
Yeah, because we're not getting into Yankees talk that quick. Simeon has gone from hitting leadoff to batting ninth and can't even remember who is in front of him, when he should be on deck.
So he started the season leadoff?
He's been the leadoff hitter since he signed here 2 years ago. Oh, it's barely. I mean, it's. I think God. It is so bad. And the reason, granted, I've lived with a lot of bad baseball in my life.
Yeah.
The Rangers, majority of my lifetime, have been absolute ass. The pitching is amazing. No, and that's the anomaly of it. All of a sudden, we have the best pitching we've possibly ever had in my lifetime. Well, and Evaldi got hurt yesterday, too, left the start earlier. But the thing that drives me most insane about all of this is I'm staring at conference finals that are 3-1. I'm staring at the NBA finals and Stanley Cup finals being over in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
You know what this reminds me of?
And I have a summer of this. I have a summer of watching guys forget they're on deck ahead of me.
That reminds me of the World Series that I can't remember last year. And then all of a sudden, all my Niners going down, and I'm just like, I have a winter of this.
Yeah, it's a sad realization
winter of this.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, yes, it kind of all went tits up after they got swept in the Bronx. Put a minute on the clock, LP.
Yankees minute.
God.
And we have Rodon throwing a flawless 7 innings. Oh, man, just 10 strikeouts yesterday. We have won 8 series in a row, 8 series while sweeping the Rangers. We are on the Angels, which are actually doing tremendous. And we're not doing it by crushing the ball, unless you're like the Athletics or something, where we go put a 12 spot on you. But we did lose. We gave Colorado their 9th victory. That is a shameful thing. But we're using it for bait. We're using it for Warrior Chant to get to this weekend series, which is the rematch. It's in L.A., and we're coming for you, Ohtani. I hope you pitch. And we're going to have Aaron Judge hit another one off you, man.
He's not that close yet, right?
Nah, he threw a couple bullpens.
He threw bullpens.
Hey, this is my minute now.
Sorry.
This is my minute now. Cody Bellinger was under 200. Now he's batting almost up to 300, hitting beautiful game, and that's my minute.
You mentioned the Rockies' 9 wins. So they're on pace to lose to win less than 30 games.
Yeah.
It would obviously, the White Sox set the record last year. It would be back-to-back years of that record setting. Off the top of your head, the Rockies have 9 wins. Do you know who the next lowest total is?
I would have to say either Pittsburgh, Athletics, or maybe Orioles.
Close. Orioles are second. Orioles have 19 wins. It's the team that just took 2 out of 3 from the Rangers. The 18-win Chicago White Sox.
Oh, the White Sox.
Who set the record last year. I set you up there.
Yeah. The White Sox.
No, it's in the Rocky situation is
it's laughable, man.
It's beyond laughable. Do you know how hard it is to lose 130 baseball games in a season?
I mean, the little league team I used to coach with my kid, I can see it. But
how many teams AAA organizations would beat the Rockies right now? Half of them, 10.
Yeah,
I mean that's probably hyperbolic.
There's some Dominican teams that can beat.
Yeah. Give me the Cuban league. They would smoke the. No pun intended.
But the Rockies got up and threw a dime on us on our first game and beat us, even though Aaron Judge is still cracking home runs. Put another one on the board. He's almost hit a home run in every stadium.
I saw he wasn't first to 20, though.
Yeah, fucking Ohtani.
Did you see Ohtani and Suzuki is first to 50 RBIs?
Yep.
Pretty impressive.
NL is weaker than AL, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, the AL, we'll do a little baseball talk because we might actually have to start.
Well, who does what league does Colorado play for?
That would be NL.
All right.
Yeah.
What league does Pittsburgh play for?
I mean, there's only one other team in your division that's over 500.
Yeah, well,
it's not. It's not like It's not like let's be honest here.
All right. Yes, Ohtani's a great baseball player.
We might need to start taking the Tigers a little more serious.
Dude, they keep winning.
Yeah,
they keep winning.
I'm looking at 17 games over 500 now with the best pitcher in baseball.
Who's the hottest team right now is Philly. Philly's the hottest team. While Bryce Harper, he got banged up a little bit, hit on the elbow, and they still won a game. They're 9-1 in their past 10 games. I don't know what they did today.
Hell, you could say the same about the Mets. I mean, right behind the Phillies without Soto doing anything.
They took 2 out of 3 from LA this past week. So Soto,
it is comical seeing the Rockies.
They are killing them.
9.
They are killing them. Now you know. Shut the. That one loss, I was like, this is the one.
I think they got one on the Rangers too. I don't think the Rangers swept them. They had them last week.
No, but it was Soto's family that convinced him of the Mets. He wanted the Yankees.
Was that what? What John Boy is telling you?
I heard it from what was it? I don't know if it was Paul O'Neill or the other announcer from whatchamacallit.
Well, you can trust everything Paul O'Neill says.
Sweet Paul O'Neill. I want 2 home runs, Paul O'Neill. You know how hard it is at 1 home run?
Still a great episode. Holds up. I saw this for the Astros fans out there because I know y'all live amongst us here. Over the last 162 games, who would you think has a better record, Astros or Yankees? Last 162.
Oh, I would say Yankees.
Immediately would say Yankees, right? Astros have 3 more wins. It's like 94 to 91.
In the Powder Puff League, man.
What are you talking about? Right now, there's
not
the league.
Yes, last year
division
athletics
standings are
Angels.
They're
good this year.
You're describing
year.
2
I'm talking
teams
about last
that
year.
are better than.
We're talking about last year, man.
The bottom dweller of the AL East. Yeah, no, going back to last year, of course, for the 162. I saw that, though, and it kind of shot my wheels off to the point where I actually had to fact-check, verify it, and look it up because I didn't believe it. And the Astros aren't going anywhere.
And I think that had the Astros,
just
constantly,
a game behind the Mariners.
Because then they change it up. They changed it up to where everybody plays everybody 2 years ago. Is because the Astros were getting 115 wins every season because – the Rangers were horrible. The Athletics were horrible. The Seattle Mariners
some
were
punching
horrible.
bags.
The Angels were horrible. Like, everybody was just garbage, and then, they just stack them up in their division while Yankees had to play the Red Sox, which are brutal games. Then have to go play Tampa Bay,
I was about to say the Rays are the ones that have always been the scary one if I was a Yankees fan.
And then Orioles were – they should be better. They fired their coach.
The Orioles are such an embarrassment this year. And the Orioles are one of those teams, like Brooks Robinson is my favorite baseball player of all. Like as a kid watching fielding YouTube, watching highlights, and anytime they would have before YouTube as a little kid when they would have, the special ESPN Classic would have all, I was a sucker for, or Ken Burns baseball documentary. Always loved Brooks and the Orioles. It's just, and it felt like 2 years ago, it felt like they were.
We need a third baseman, Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Just move over to third base like A-Rod did, and
Yeah, those Orioles fans would lose their.
That'd be a Lucas style trade, man.
That wouldn't even. It still wouldn't. To even call that trade a Lucas style trade is disrespectful to how bad the Luka trade exactly.
Yeah.
Because that a Luka trade would be like Soto going from Washington to San Diego.
Ohtani for
that would. Could you imagine if out of nowhere the Lakers or the Dodgers traded Ohtani? I mean, it's not happening, but that's what we said about Luka. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We'll talk a little Spurs here in the main segment.
Go Yankees.
Before we get to the lightning round. Mainly, thinking as we start to wind down these NBA conference finals, and obviously I'm about tired, and I know I've played a little bit of a part in this. The hyper focus on the fact that we're about to have Oklahoma City and Indianapolis as the 2 final cities. I know
market teams.
It would have been awesome to see the Garden rocking for an NBA Finals.
Yeah.
But you can't argue with what Indiana is doing to get there. And if you watched the 2 games in Indiana, it's a pretty fun atmosphere.
And
if you watched Oklahoma City, that's like it's vacation Bible school, but they love their basketball.
You know the common thread right now? Both best defenses in the league right now.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. Well, and that's, looking at the parallels with this Indiana team and the 2011 Mavs championship team when Carlisle was the coach. The offense, you look at the roster of Indiana and you don't question where the offense is going to come from. But you also look at it and you say they should be better than they've been defensively the last couple of years. When you make the trade for Siakam, you have Miles Turner, a mobile shot-blocking big man. You've got athletic wings. You've got 3-and-D guys. And then Halliburton is your liability, but at least he competes. And,
and he's getting better.
He's getting better for sure. But
it takes time to know where people are going to be. Like, if I'm going to get off this pick and roll, are you going to transfer me or am I going to have to roll around you?
And I think that's
and
where...
you got to know, like, that just takes time to gel.
The way Carlisle in 2011 cobbled a respectable defense around the liability that was Dirk.
Yeah, his knees.
It feels very much like what Carlisle is doing now with Halliburton, where he's convinced these guys, look, if you will just play 10% better defense, it will make all the difference. Yeah. And it feels like they're not defensive juggernaut by any means.
And Knicks are,
but they're doing just enough.
The Knicks are a damn good defensive team too. That's how they got there too. Their defense. But it just seems like Karl Anthony Towns is just becoming a little bit of a wild card. He only got 23 minutes in that third game, which was insane to me. And I don't know what's going on between. I saw some arguing in game 2 on the bench with him and somebody else. They're not. The chemistry's not there like it is in Indiana, and it shows on the court.
Yeah, I think that's a
lot of forced shots, a lot of trying to steal the ball and trying to take that chance, but you leave that man wide open and someone's got to switch over to him and you leave that person open on the corner and they're knocking down threes. Siakam is killing him on the threes.
And you mentioned, this is the Knicks' first playoff run with Cat. This is the first year they've had him as part of this group. And Siakam, second year now in Indiana. And the difference in having that one run previously as a group, I think you could argue is a lot of what's showing there.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And I think your point on the defense is really interesting when you think about it from a Spurs perspective, because obviously as they are building this foundation of what the team is going to look like for the next decade, we feel extremely confident. Number 2 pick is Dylan Harper, and he's not going anywhere. So you're starting to think about what liabilities you have on this roster now in terms of team building. And, of course, the one everyone immediately turns to is Sochan. And you think about, we've got, Sochan 22, Wemby 21, Castle 20, Dylan Harper 19. Those guys are all on the same timeline contractually and age-wise. But everyone is so quick to try to move on from Sochan. And I think there is
assuming energy.
Assuming he develops, it doesn't need to be massive strides developed offensively, but I think he's a guy that when you're looking at these teams and what's succeeding, like
who's going to get that 50-50 ball?
All Lou Dort does is shoot threes and play great defense.
Yeah.
Sochan's individual defense is his most valuable trait.
Yeah.
Nesmith is more of a offensive threat, but he's still playing good D for Indiana. But I just think we're so quick to, when it comes to thinking about team building, we're so quick to devalue the defensive side of someone's game. If we're valuing someone that averages 18 points a game more than a guy that averages only 12 points a game, but is a way better defender than the 18 point. I would rather have the 12 point a game and elite defender then a guy getting 18 points in the NBA is not hard to find. Look at Jordan Poole. Like, we've seen those guys. Just chunk shots. Like, I still think, as we think about what this future roster construction with the Spurs is going to look like, Sochan is the most interesting and arguably most important piece moving forward.
I think he's a good 6th, 7th player. Like, because if someone gets in foul trouble, one of our big names, he can come in and just D up. And we got enough people that can sit there and put the ball on the floor, spot up and shoot. And if he works on his spot up and shoot like Bruce Bowen did,
I think that's a great comp of what he should be trying to develop towards.
And it's just, I wish he had that height to go in the number 5 position, but he's a great 6th, 7th man off the bench.
See, and that's where the interesting thing is, because at that point, if he's a 7th guy coming off the bench, you're still hunting that starting big man to pair next to Wemby. And
that's where we gotta have your knowledge from college basketball. We can find them with the 12th pick, or we have the 14th pick.
14th. Yeah.
We can trade a bunch of ones or something, go up 1 or 2, picks to go get one of these big men to be our 5th.
So, and this is where so you're judging by that suggestion, you feel like Sochan is not potentially.
I don't think he's a starter. I think he's a bench player.
Fair.
And I think you need that energy off the bench.
Yeah.
When you come in with that squad, he's going to give you that energy. He's going to sit there, outwork the other team's second team.
Yeah.
Basically, like, how do you outwork their second team? And then you can put them on one of the all-stars if they want to do it like the second team, but hey, we want to keep
Kevin
Durant
there,
Well, we need that person pestering Kevin Durant, and that's Sochan.
I think Sochan's primary defender rating leads me to still believe he can be the starting 4-man for this thing once everyone's in their prime. Yeah. Right, and that's I think that's where we get he's got a little muscle. We're starting to show some of the same signs like Giannis from rookie year versus year 3.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, he's like, just remember what you felt like at 18 versus 21. Like when I was 21 and would go back and play pickup against all the high school kids in my hometown, I felt like a grown-ass man. Like I felt like a god compared just from the natural. I wasn't working out. I wasn't lifting weights. I just grew up.
No, I hit puberty way early, so I was like that as a freshman.
You were already?
I was already 6'5", and like my muscle definition was coming in when I was like a sophomore.
No, you're already full beard.
And then I'm like, I did boxing for a little bit, and then all of a sudden after that, it's just the Pudge Town. Hit me with the fat, Lawrence.
Fat. The reason I bring up Sochan is because timeline, like contract and age-wise, he is the natural fit with the guy, with the Castles, the Harper, and Wemby.
And the fact that they're used to each other. They got chemistry already. Like, I think we keep everybody, and we just add
This is where the kind of the 3 identifiable paths start to show themselves to me, because I think the first path would have been pushing all your chips in, trade for Giannis, whatever that would take. So they clearly doesn't feel like they're doing that. Second path would be go pure patience, keep the second pick, keep the 14th pick, maybe even like you were saying, package the 14th to move up a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, with the idea
to get McNibble
that you're adding Knipple. With the idea that you're adding another young guy that you're going to be patient with and let develop as a part of the core, or
because we don't need him to score, we need him to sit there and put a body on down low, and we need him to rebound.
But usually those guys that you're describing, those are the slowest developing NBA players of any position. like the 7-footer or the big man who's.
But you told me this is the deepest draft that's like
it
already
is.
ready.
It is. But that's I don't say that's not. I don't say that in terms of it's impossible to find. I say that more in terms of the patience part of that plan.
The big man's the most. You got to be the most patient with.
1,000%. Like you're talking about a big man that if you draft, let's
get a couple of them.
Say you move up again. It's the timeline is still the same. Those guys aren't
Steven Adams contract up.
Yeah, I mean he's old. I mean he would be okay. So
there you go.
So hold on. The second plan being that patient where you're drafting another 19-year-old kid and you're knowing he's not really going to be who he's going to be for another 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Just natural development arc. Or the third path, which I think this is kind of a sneaky stat. How old is De'Aaron Fox right now?
27.
27 on the nose. He turns 28 in December.
Mm-hmm.
So Sochan, 22, Wemby, 21, Harper, Castle, both teenagers. Now you've got Fox, who's 28. Kind of eventually the odd man out of that draft and develop core that we're now talking about, this pathway.
Well, De'Aaron Fox is going to be the odd man out we're going to give him a 4 or 5 year contract.
Right. And that's where in thinking about, if you're obviously, you're not doing anything with Fox. You're keeping Fox. He's a part of this thing for the next, like you said, 4 or 5 years. So finding that middle ground between the two strategies, instead of going all in for Giannis or only drafting youngsters and letting the core grow together, finding that middle ground, like you said, potentially a Steven Adams pickup or someone.
You know, this made me think of? This made me think of early 2000 problems. Tiago, Malik, we kept on plugging in centers after Robinson left because we needed Duncan on the 4 to be in the 4 spot, and we kept on putting in centers and center after center after center. And Tiago stayed there a little bit longer just because of the connection with Ginobili. But we had Malik Rose down there. We had a couple other people I just can't remember. Willis was
that was earlier.
Remember Kevin Willis? Oh, he was a bruiser, but he was off the bench. But we can plug in a Steven Adams. Is it
Nesterovic back for a minute?
Yeah, Nesterovic. Yeah, remember that guy?
That was a name I'd forgotten.
Yeah. So I mean, this sounds like a problem we've done before.
But the problem, the reason that worked before was because the guy you're parenting him next to is Tim Duncan.
And we got Wemby.
Sure, but let's not call Wemby anywhere close to Tim Duncan yet. That's still.
Of course, he's not Timmy yet. He needs the rings.
Right, but that's where I'm saying
talent for talent.
But you're talking about a team that was a contender that was just filling stop gaps in next to Timmy. This is where, when you're thinking, this team is not a contender. It needs to be built to get there. So the path to get there is either...
If you want to write it down in a little notebook, we're going to win 45 next year. Put it down.
45?
45.
Do you the last 45. Time a team jumped
45.
25 games?
Well, we also tanked about 10.
I guess it was games. That would only be what, like 14 win improvement? They finished 31 wins this
yeah,
is that
we're
what
going to win 45. We're not going to be in the play-in. We're going to be in 1 through 6. We are going to be Wemby is going to start taking over.
This is where you start to lose me because I don't disagree that is possible, but as currently constructed, it's not probable. It's actually
you're talking about. It would be not even a generational talent.
No. Explain all of the reasons. Yeah. Please tell me. Right now, you have Dylan Harper, like everyone we know, like assuming that's who they take in the draft.
Yeah.
And you're thinking the addition of, as you said, Steven Adams in free agency?
The addition of
rotting corpse of Steven Adams?
The rotting corpse.
He's a third of what he was 3 years ago before the knee injuries. He can bang. Yeah, he serves a purpose.
But do you think that Wemby's not going to be not down there? He's going to be down there getting all his blocks and getting all his rebounds. You're telling me with a stronger, more versatile, better point guard, Wemby, for a pick and roll, and then you add, let's go a withering Steven Adams down there to help him like get the big men off him, and then so it's too crowded down there. We got Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, and who else we can throw in another one, Sochan or whatever, to like shoot the ball, put it on the ground. You're telling me we can outscore them while playing defense, and we're young and we're fast. 45, market.
I'm telling you,
45.
This Oklahoma City team with the MVP,
They're good.
They're great. And
we're coming for them.
Do you see how long it's taken them to get to
3
this
years.
point? It's been 5 years.
3. Well, yeah, but they got to the point 2 years ago. They got up to the top 4 2 years ago.
No, they lost to 2 years. Last year they lost to Dallas in the second round.
They lost to the people that went to the championship in the
second round, not in the conference finals.
And they had the best record in the West. And the year before that, they were in the top 6. So 3 years ago, they are going to do the jump we're going to do.
Look, if it happens...
The numbers are there, dude.
No, they're not. They're actually not, which is what I'm trying to tell you. If it happens, you have it on record.
On record.
But
45.
The amount of irrational confidence...
Garrett Cole.
The amount of confidence, the way you talk about it as if it's just like...
Barring injuries, of course.
No, of course. Barring injuries for any other team, too.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that I don't have faith that we could see development jumps that would put the Spurs in that conversation. It's more that I look at the rest of the Western Conference, and even with all of the moves you proposed, I still see 6 teams better than them next year.
Next episode, next podcast, let's sit there and dissect the Western Conference and who we would go against. And let's rack up those wins. And let's see who we're like, okay, we'll go 2 for 2 here. We'll go 3 for 1 here.
Let's start here.
0 for 3.
Let's see how far. Let's see when you lose me. Will the Spurs be better than the Thunder next year? Yes or no?
No, but we took one from the Thunder.
Yes or no?
Took one
regular season. They won 68 this year.
Okay. So are we talking regular season or are we talking, so I said 45.
No, you're saying finishing top 6 in the West.
Top 6. So we're talking regular season.
The Thunder, yes or no? Are they better than the Thunder?
I think we have the ability to take one at least, if not split.
You're suggesting that the Spurs would have any chance of finishing higher than the Thunder next year as currently?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
talking about their series. Okay.
It's not a series.
Okay.
We're talking. You said finish top 6 in the West.
I see where you're going now.
Thunder. Will they finish? Will the Spurs finish higher than the Thunder?
Thunder's above
Will the
us.
Spurs finish higher than the Rockets? The Rockets just won 52 games and were the 2 seed.
Let's go ahead and say no.
Will the Spurs finish higher than the Lakers with still Luka in year?
Yes, absolutely.
The Lakers just won 50. Absolutely. Ooh, absolutely. The Spurs absolutely will have
LeBron
a better
on the
record.
Team? Is LeBron going to be?
Yeah, he's playing another year.
So a 41-year-old and Luka Fats is going to be on the team.
I'm sorry, a player that has 5 first-team All-NBA seasons.
Put it on the record. That's
what we're doing.
All right.
Nuggets. Yes. Will the Spurs be better than the Nuggets next year?
That's a push because Jamal Murray's a shadow of himself.
That's no push. Yes or no?
Okay, let's say no.
No. Clippers.
Yes.
T-Wolves.
Yes. They're going to blow it up.
So those you have of the top 6.
They got so much they got to spend on T-Wolves that you know this.
But
they got to blow up the team.
They're appearing in back-to-back Western Conference Finals, and now you're sitting here saying,
they're getting embarrassed.
Spurs are going to do better than that next year. Anyone can fucking see that.
In regular season.
This is what drives.
Okay,
this is what drives me crazy sometimes about these conversations. The amount of just instant, like, oh no, we're better. Like,
no,
what are you talking about?
I'm putting that on the assumption that T-Wolves have to pay a lot of players and they can't do it. So somebody's got to go.
So the T-Wolves lose Naz Reid and all of a sudden they're going to finish lower than the Spurs?
Maybe.
Okay. And the rest doesn't even matter. That's just your top six.
So throw T-Wolves up there. What are we at? 5.
Because no, technically you're
okay. Put the Lakers above the Clippers because you laughed at me on that one, and you think Kawhi Leonard is gonna dominate us. All right, we're at 6. We're at where I said. I didn't say we're gonna finish.
You said finish top 6.
So that means a 6, maybe a 5.
Oh, now we're even talking. You might have home court advantage in the playoffs next year.
Maybe.
That's insanity. Insanity. The Mavs just got Cooper Flagg to add to AD.
Here we go with DFW over here.
No, I'm just saying.
Do you see what I'm talking about when I'm talking to a DFW guy right now?
See,
Luka is the god. I'm just playing.
I'm sorry. I just look at results and actual stats instead of this feeling of, oh, no, we're the Spurs. We're going to be good again next year.
There is not a feeling.
Mitch Johnson's first year as the actual head coach. It's going to go fine. It's going to go great. There's no issues here. We're top 6. We're looking at home court advantage in the playoffs.
Was our team flatlining or before Wemby got hurt and before we got De'Aaron Fox?
They were 3 games out. They were 3 games out of the 10th seed.
Yeah,
they were we were gearing up. I better be careful with that.
That
was Roman salute style. We're gearing it up.
No, don't do it.
I just think I love the optimism, but I think the Oklahoma City example is a perfect example because the way the league, like granted, Wemby could all of a sudden become the unquestionable best player in the league that carries a team to a 50-win season by himself.
What does everybody say about him?
No,
he's a
right.
freak. He's
I
an
completely,
alien, dude.
completely agree.
Everybody's in awe of him, and now he's stronger,
but usually
more capable.
Usually, especially a big man,
hopefully
who's not
clots.
a guard. Yeah, that's a huge. Let's cross our fingers about that one.
Yeah.
Usually, it takes more than one guy to be a 50-win team in the league. And all I'm suggesting is that this year there were 6 50-win teams, and you're telling me the Spurs are going to be better than
there were 6 in the West or 6 in
in the West, like right there. I think if 40, I think 6th seed was 48. I think there
was a lot of tanking because of Cooper Flagg. Oh, not just us, but
the T-Wolves were the 6th seed, and they had 49 wins.
So you're telling me they didn't even get 50 wins, and we might not be able to jump over the T-Wolves.
Also, 45 wins,
dude.
45 wins that you described, that would have been the 9 seed this year. So again,
I said we're going to get
45
over it.
wins.
I said we're going to get over
6.
it. I said we're getting over it. I said we're scoring, we're winning more than 45 games. That is my benchmark. That is my over/under right there.
Look,
and I'm an optimist.
That's why I love it. Again, that's why I love it. I think depending on which way the Spurs go, if the Spurs end up keeping that second first-round pick, whether it is the 14th pick or they move up, I think that would decrease your odds of being right because that patience of development of developing another teenager. I think if they had pushed all their chips in for Giannis, I think you would have a really good chance of being right.
But I think you're saying Dylan Harper's that man.
But very few people are that man their first year in the league.
We don't need him because we got De'Aaron,
we got Steph Castle, who's about to be a top 5 player in the league.
I just said De'Aaron Fox, Wemby, and then Steph Castle. I didn't say Steph Castle first. You know I love me some Steph Castle.
I know everybody loves Steph Castle, but I think if you listen to anybody in national NBA circles, the amount of love might be a little much.
You can jump out the building
compared to the actual value. We're getting late. LG, let's get us to the lightning round here. Either of y'all been watching the French Open? It started earlier this week. Watching some tennis?
Nope.
So it is the first year of a 10-year deal that TNT has. They've been doing a great job so far. A lot of Americans are doing well so far. Nice. But the most important, or the thing I've enjoyed the most, is because TNT is Max. So HBO subscription, every single match is on the HBO app.
And they got different angles.
It's great. It's been good so far.
Hey, I'm going to have to check me some out. Hit me, LG.
Crash!
There it is. There it is. Now, did you know that in the next 2 seasons, with Brock Purdy's big contract that everybody keeps talking about, that he has to earn it, that one Samuel Darnold will have more of a cap hit than Brock Purdy over the next 2 seasons?
Yeah, I saw some of the funny math that they had worked out with. It's genius. I mean, it's
Jeff York.
Yeah.
When they started talking about when they drafted Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan goes over to Jeff York and he says, I think our third string quarterback might be our best quarterback. Jeff York just went, gulp.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Good problem to have. Go there, Jesus Brock.
LG hit me. Watched a fair bit of soccer this past weekend, and a little bit today even as well. So Liverpool won the Premier League, but my Chelsea Blues finished top 4 back in the Champions League next year for the first time in
very nice.
Quite a while. And then Chelsea won the gimmicky Europa Conference League today. But it's just good to see someone in a Chelsea uniform jersey actually hold a trophy again. That one had been a while. And elsewhere in European sports, we had it's the most boring race of the season in Formula One.
The Indy.
Well, the Indy was here, but in Europe, in the Formula One, it was the Monaco Grand Prix. So it's the most boring one because there's no passing. It's all like
time trials,
basically for the most part. But there were over like $300 billion worth of yachts parked in, because it's Monaco. It's literally Casino Royale from the bottom. I mean, you're driving through the richest principality in the world. So it looks awesome, but it's the most boring race of the season. Yeah. So yay, boo.
I told you how they flew in yachts for the Austin F1, man. They were flying them into Lake Travis, just dropping them in.
That's what I was saying. Like, someone drive that thing up the Brazos.
Yeah, hit me, LG. Stephon Diggs is the perfect one for this. Stephon Diggs was not at the Patriots OTAs and was caught on the video with a couple of Instagram models, 3 of them, and waving a pink substance in a baggie.
Is Instagram model what we're calling whores now?
We're calling whores.
Oh, okay. These are actual Instagram models. Okay, heard. Yeah, that's
that pink substance. What wasn't that the one dude, that singer from the boy band, jumped off the balcony?
Oh yeah, down in Brazil.
Yeah, they call it something, man.
Yeah, now that you say that,
it's like X mixed with crystal.
And it didn't. To Diggs' credit, it looked like he was giving more of a safety course to the young women. It didn't look necessarily like he was.
He's about his people, man. See what I'm saying? They weren't whores. If they were whores, he's just gonna be like, put this.
Yeah, he clearly graduated from Dare, like the rest of us. Hit me, LG.
Give me some chon.
Something we talk. Oh gosh, okay. Time out. This was unplanned. I swear, I'm about to talk about the Fever and Sky ticket.
Yes.
God. So we talked a little bit about that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese hard foul confrontation, whatnot.
Those chon-chons.
So Caitlin Clark now is injured. And you sent me this. I saw, if there's any argument about
who runs that league
and the value that is driven by individual players, the average ticket price dropped from like $98 to $25 after the Caitlin Clark injury. Talking about the
drop
next
75%.
matchup, between Fever and Sky. So again, I defend a lot of the anger or frustration towards Caitlin, but at the end of the day, you can't argue with the numbers.
Another girl stepped out and she's like, if you want to play like a man, you're gonna be treated like a man. And I'm like, y'all know this is the WNBA.
Yeah, again, minor detail there. Minor detail.
Hit me, LG. Oh, this is a great one because Trump's been throwing out them pardons.
Oh,
man.
yeah, this
pardon
is good.
here,
this
pardon there, pardon there. You know, he did old buddy from Detroit from the Black Mafia family.
Oh yeah, Larry Hoover.
Yeah. He got himself a pardon. Young boy,
NBA young boy got the pardon.
Got a pardon. And we got the Chrisleys.
I like me a little Casey talk.
those embezzling SOBs.
Who are they? People are talking like I should know.
The guy acts like he's gay, but he's not gay, and they have a family. But they got pardoned. And you know who's super upset about this?
I think I have a good guess.
One Joe Exotica.
Yeah, pilot points on.
Sweet Joe, pardon my boy. Oklahoma's own.
Didn't you have
Joe?
What was the story you had last week about it? Was it his boyfriend got deported?
He got released from jail and got deported. Joe can't do enough, man. He got prostate cancer. His boy's in Mexico. Let Joe go.
It's pretty funny, man. If Joe Exotic, if they're actually
he is really mad about this.
Well, like if someone is presenting, because like Trump doesn't know who NBA YoungBoy is. He has no clue, man. No clue. He had no clue who Kodak Black was when he
Kim probably told him who to.
For sure. So imagine being the person that is like. Trump's taking these pardons and it's like, oh, NBA YoungBoy, what did he do? Okay, fine, pardon him. Yeah. And then the next person steps up and is like, Joe Exotic. And Trump's like, nope, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No Joe Exotic. Let him rot in prison. Absolutely not. Like, just imagine being the like dividing line
Joe Exotic.
Trump looking at Joe Exotic like,
little too out there, a little too gay for me.
Don't like the look of this guy. Absolutely not. No. Hit me, LG.
I'm here for the gangbang.
Oh, aren't we all? Did either of y'all see who the new #1 barbecue place is in Texas according to Texas Monthly?
Hit me with it.
In our region, in our area, and it's hard to argue with it being #1. The boys up in Seguin, that Burnt Bean Company. It is. I mean, it's
delicious.
It's been climbing the ranks. I think they do these like either every 2 years or every 4 years. Like the Olympics.
Man, there's like 3 good ones in Seguin because my dad lives in between Seguin and New Braunfels, and we ate at this new one. And I saw I forget the name of it, but we also ate at this other one.
Well, Davila's is up there. Adrian, his family has been doing. I used to actually I used to do their PR up there. The great Davila family of Seguin. Now the
burnt bean's good.
Burnt bean is really good, and so they're really really good. They were #1 in Texas Monthly's whole ranking, but also had my personal favorite here in town, 2M, was on the list, and then one. If you haven't, I know 2M has gotten a lot of love, and Pinkerton's was on the list as well. Pinkerton's is great.
Yeah,
Pinkerton's is more.
2M, I like the flavor. The flavor's dynamite. The spices are out of this world.
I would still put 2M above Burnt Bean, but I love Burnt Bean too. It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's just a little bit of a shaky.
Yeah,
you got to sit outside with the flies.
That's a little rough at times. But the sneaky one that also made the list, Reese Brothers, and it is like. I don't want too many people to know about it, even though I'm about to talk about it.
So Reese Brothers?
That's right. It is. It is right by the Alamo Dome.
Oh wow!
And it is so damn good. It is
so it's walkable distance.
And it's not too busy. It's not crazy yet. I feel it's about to get.
So you're eating some Reese Brothers and funnel cakes the past couple weeks.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm carrying around a spare tire now.
All right, hit me, LG.
These nuts.
Speaking of whores,
I'm not sure I like where this is going.
The OnlyFans model. Anna,
spectacular.
Anna Knight.
Hold on.
Had to be hospitalized.
Let's do some show research here.
Had to be hospitalized for bleeding 2 days after completing.
Okay, I think I'm
completing the challenge where she slept with 583 men in 6 hours. That is a champ. That is a champ right there. And you know what? You know what happens with a champ? You have good support around you. Her man said right beforehand, go make us proud.
God,
go make us proud.
What a cuck that poor dude is.
Go bang those 583 men in 6 hours.
Okay, honest question. We're in the safe space.
Are we in safe space?
We're in the trust tree, right?
Yeah.
Why does every OnlyFans girl seem like they're like Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut at like food competition? Like who can eat you did 100 in a day. I'm going to do 536.
I think us men need to look in the mirror. There's a reason why they're competitive. Like for some reason, there's some incels out there that like watching this. I watched the Houston 500. I don't know if you heard of
that's
that one.
classic.
That's a classic one.
That was
where
from
she had
like
to sit
high school.
She had to sit in the ice bath, and I couldn't watch porn for 2 years after that. That was it. Ruined it for me. It ruined it.
As
for me.
I would hope. As I would hope it would. LG hit me. All right. Before I got a couple more here, but we did this last week, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm gonna go see a concert tomorrow night. And I'm going to a venue I haven't been to for a full show. I've only been to for like a private event. Oh, that sounded fancy. Cater, stuff like that. I am talking about the greatness that is the drive-through truckers playing at Stable Hall tomorrow night. If you're unfamiliar with the drive-through or drive-by truckers, not drive-through, they are. It's great. Just
I've actually heard of them.
Country Americana. It's great.
Believe it or not, I've actually heard of them. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah, they. If you know who Jason Isbell is, he was a member at one point when he was a teenager, young kid. But they're still really good live show. So I'm going tomorrow night, and I thought it would be a fun prep here. Let's see if they have any 1-star reviews like we did last week, okay?
Give me that 1 star.
2 months ago, Erica says, unfortunately, had a horrible experience my first time here.
Unfortunately?
We purchased tickets in the hayloft standing area, first of all.
Hayloft?
Like that
hay, like you're in a hay and it's a loft?
Yeah, well, it's like a hayloft of a barn. You know, you walk into an old barn and it's got all the hay up top. It's the hayloft, yeah. So it's the stable hall. So it's the former stables at the Pearl. I think she is saying it's like, we're in the hayloft area. Exactly. Here we go. Which do cost more than general admission standing area. So Erica's letting us know.
Shit up there.
Erica's letting us know that she paid more. She paid extra for this standing area.
She's fancy.
The website does state we will have access to lounge area, and please note you cannot see stage from that area, but we can stand. So now she's paid extra for these exclusive tickets. She has access to a lounge area, but apparently she can't see the stage from either of them.
And she's complaining.
Of course, because it's a 1-star. You took the time. You took the time to leave a. Not only did she take the time to leave a 1-star review, but 18 people reacted to it with an emoji. So 18 people read this entire diatribe.
Oh my god!
This is not this is straight.
That's an essay.
That's a Kavinsky. Like this is a manifesto. This is a Kaczynski level.
God bless her boyfriend.
Erica, there's too much going on here.
He's a cuck.
Yeah. And it was for the Stoney LaRue show on Valentine's. We had, while he was still laughing, he did refund my money, so she ends up getting a refund.
You carried out on Valentine's Day. Refunded money.
We had to leave, and I was in tears. Didn't get to see Stoney LaRue, and our Valentine's night was ruined. So,
buddy.
1 star from Erica. Pamela here says,
the little man's at the top.
All caps. All caps. Beware of ticket pricing at Pearl Stable Hall. I recently purchased 2 floor standing room only tickets, which is what I purchased. This is applicable to me, apparently. Through their website, which uses a third-party seller. I was charged $69 each.
$69, dude.
Nice, Pamela. Only to find out that tickets at the door were being sold for $20. Yeah, that's, as she notes, that's nearly a $50 markup. Yes, it is. That's a $49 markup, Pamela. Good math there.
Do math.
This kind of pricing discrepancy is frustrating and feels like an unfair upcharge. If you're planning to attend an event here, I highly recommend checking for on-site ticket options.
How is that the place's fault? When she got basically conned out of money from a third party.
Yeah, it feels like you played yourself there, Pamela.
Put the 1 star on the third party. Not this place. This place didn't do anything.
Oh, this is always one of the fun ones to me. Janelle says, very disappointed in this establishment.
Oh.
Seems like you need to be of a certain race to be treated with. So now we have racism entering the chat.
Janelle does not sound like a white name.
Now we have racism entering the chat.
There is a hayloft.
I'm upset we didn't get the manager's name that treated us horribly. But if he's reading this, he will know.
Oh,
do better, Pearl Stable. So,
wow,
could be a rough night ahead at the Pearl.
You go tell me about that clam meeting you're going to later then.
Yeah. LG, hit me one last time. We'll close with this. Still haven't had time to get to the E-Bombs corner. I swear, we've got the whale video. I've got an awesome Nintendo helpline video, but alas, we have no time this week. We will close out with the 9-year anniversary of our fallen compatriot, Harambe.
Oh, give it up for Harambe.
One man who was not as excited about this story 9 years ago was sports talk legend Mike Francesa, who absolutely lost it on a caller.
You let that kid die.
Who was calling? I think this clip is from the 5-year anniversary of the Harambe Day. You have this, LG?
Can you imagine if that was your child in there? You're going to have people who are going to say, wait a second, I'm worried about the gorilla? When your kid's in there, basically maybe seconds from having his head crushed. We live in a world now where you are going to be more concerned with the gorilla than you are the little boy?
Yeah, there's more little boys than
what's
gorillas.
wrong with you people? They're thinking about me. He fell into an area where he's in there with a gorilla. Who is dragging him around that habitat, and you're telling me you're worried about the gorilla's welfare?
Yes.
What is wrong with you?
All right. This is why Mike Francesa is a legend.
Human being.
This is why he is a legend. Only a New York radio
with that
legend,
Jersey accent.
Hey, you're getting upset about the gorilla? The gorilla? He calls it, it's a gorilla. There's an R at the gorilla. It's a gorilla, right? It's a gorilla.
There's a child from a mother.
Every single BS anniversary like this, there's a clip of Mike Francesa bitching about it. And so I am just as a radio nerd.
That's a good one.
Next
year we're throwing a party for Harambe. 10 years, decade long.
Oh, nice.
We still remember you.
10-year anniversary of Harambe and 6 seed 2025. Yes, let's throw a party. LG, get us out of here. That will do it. Quickly, shout out to the roommate. My lovely, caring, supportive wife literally finished grad school today. So
congratulations.
We have been teasing the return of Friday episodes with Who Won the Internet with her. But she's been finishing grad school.
She's been doing real life stuff.
No more excuse. No, I'm kidding. Congrats, baby. I love you. Very, very proud of that. So hopefully now you got some free time. It's time to do some episodes.
Well, free time would usually mean pizza or something like that.
No,
but this guy just wants to do content
episodes.
all day.
Content. All right, as always, thank you all for riding along.
How about them Cowboys?
Maybe in a weekend episode with
OSU
stuff.
Cowboys.
Till then, we'll see y'all later.
The real Cowboys.
Peace.
Kids, what do we say about drugs?
Only thugs use drugs. Say no to drugs.
Yeah!